Okay, hello everybody. Can't even finish my intro song, girl. They're already doing press conferences. I'm not even done getting dressed. My lights ain't even on. Okay, but here we are. There you go. This lady's talking. What she said. Good morning, good morning. The killer's still on the loose, if you're wondering. What she just came up here and said. Hold on.
So if you want to get that ready, this should be here in the next couple minutes, please.
Hold on.
Hi everyone, my name is Hillary Kellner. I'm the Communications Director for the Utah Department of Public Safety. I just wanted to give you all a quick 5-minute warning. We are going to have the special agent in charge with the FBI as well as Commissioner Mason with DPS. So if you want to get that ready, this should be here in the next couple minutes. Thanks.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Who's this? She's going to tell us her name. Oh, she is taking her a long time to say her name.
I'll be right back.
She said, I'll be right back. We have another angle. We have two angles. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure we weren't going to miss anything. I'm like, wasn't actually ready to go live at all. It's 9:11 on 9/11. Where I am, it's 9:11 a.m. Over there where the press conference is, it is a little after 7. It's 7:11. Now, this press conference was supposed to take place 11 minutes ago. So they're running late, but they did say like about or like around 7 over there that time. It's I'm going to start using Eastern time here, but they said it was going to be around 7 there. So what's the press conference for? Didn't we already have a press conference? Just like it's a Groundhog Day over here. Did we just have a press conference? Yeah, we did last night, and they really weren't answering too many questions. Now, at the time that they had a press conference last night, they were saying that there was a not a suspect, but a person of interest in custody. Then meanwhile, Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, was tweeting that they had a, quote, suspect in custody. The authorities, the powers that be in these breaking news cases, like oftentimes do appear to be struggling with a little bit of a jurisdictional issue, a little bit of too many cooks in the kitchen type of issue. And that appears to be happening here.
FBI speaker is Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles, R-O-B-E-R-T, last name V-O-H-L-S.
Voles.
And then for the Utah Department of Public Safety, we have Commissioner Bo Mason, B-E-A-U.
And Bo Mason. We saw him last night. Okay. So there was, I just want to make sure we're not going to miss anything. Let's see if this audio is better.
Robert Bowles, R-O-B-E-R-T, last name B-O-H-L-S.
I think that one's easier to hear.
For the Utah Department of Public Safety, we have Commissioner.
That one's easier to hear,
Bo
right? The speakers.
Mason,
Let me turn that.
B-E-A-U.
Captions unavailable.
Last name M-A-S-O.
Okay, we're gonna go with this this one right here. This is USA Today. Shout out to them for having them there. Okay, so one person we're gonna see today is the same as we saw last night. That's Bo Mason. I swear that's gotta be my cousin. That's the most Louisiana last name I ever heard. I mean, full name I ever heard. Not really, but I mean it's very Louisiana. So we are seeing them set up for a press conference. Now, last night, I believe there was an FBI special agent that did speak, but Kash Patel was tweeting about they have a suspect.
Hi, everyone.
Okay.
My name is Hillary
Hold that
Kellner. I'm
thought.
the Communications Director for the Utah Department of Public Safety. Today, we will have 2 speakers, one representing the state of Utah and one representing our federal agencies. They will be providing some updates as well as a recap of what happened here at Utah Valley University yesterday. We will be able to take a couple of questions after they are done speaking, but it will be short in order to stay in tune with the president speaking at 9:45. So I'll go ahead and introduce Commissioner Bo Mason.
Okay, here come Bo Mason. He's the one from the Utah representative. He's the department.
Good morning. I'm Bo Mason, Commissioner for the Utah Department of Public Safety.
Talk louder, Bo.
I'd be remiss if we didn't start off today and recognize the significance of the day.
Oh yeah. It's
Historically
9/11.
on 9/11, law enforcement has come together as a group to recognize and honor those that sacrificed to preserve the ideals of this country, the freedoms of this country. And instead, we find ourselves today hunting a murderer
Well,
who
speed it
chose
up.
to violate our rights, the rights of an individual within this country. Just to recap yesterday's events, at around 12:20 p.m., political influencer Charlie KIRK was at Utah Valley University
I almost always say
participating in a
Kirk.
student-sponsored event with Turning Point USA. Charlie was shot at that event. He was transported to a local hospital where he later passed. Last night, his body was moved to the state office of the medical examiner.
You got the
We
cry.
will continue to facilitate movements to get him home today and with his family. Yesterday, during the investigative process, we located a couple of persons of interest. We interviewed those individuals, and after releasing them and after clearing them of being suspects, they faced scrutiny, they faced threats. We asked the public to be patient with the investigative process.
We did that over here.
These
That wasn't
individuals
us.
were not suspects, they were people of interest. We
Cash.
ask that you do not impose into those people and that investigative process. They don't deserve that harassment for being subject to that. I'd like to thank all the investigators that are involved in this. They have worked around the clock, all day yesterday, through the night last night. Investigators from the State Bureau of Investigations, from county, from city agencies, the university, our federal partners with the FBI, the ATF, and many others. Those are just a few of the people that we have involved in this. I'd like to thank all of them for their strong work. Through all that work last night, we were able to make a few breakthroughs.
Breakthroughs.
We were able to track the movements of the shooter.
Okay.
Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the stairwells, up to the roof, across the roof to a shooting location. After the shooting, we were able to track his movements as he moved to the other side of the building, jumped off of the building, and fled off of the campus and into a neighborhood. Our investigators have worked through those neighborhoods, contacting anybody they can with doorbell cameras, witnesses, and have thoroughly worked through those communities, trying to identify any leads. We do have good video footage of this individual.
Okay.
We are not going to release that at this time.
Good.
We're working through some technologies and some ways to identify this individual.
AI face
If we are
recognition.
unsuccessful, we will reach out to you as the media and we will push that publicly to help us identify them. But we're confident in our abilities right now, and we would like to move forward in a manner that keeps everyone safe and moves this process appropriately. Last night I communicated with Erica.
Erica's the wife,
The family's devastated.
the widow.
As a commissioner of public safety, as a father, as a husband, I can only imagine what that family's going through. The heinous event that happened yesterday is not in Utah. This is not what we're known for. Over the past several weeks, we've seen this state come together to help families in mourning, come together as a community to show what Utah is known for a state of character, of service, of camaraderie, of a neighboring feel. We will not stand for what happened yesterday. We are exhausting every lead. We have every officer invested in this, every investigator, every local agency. The outpouring of support from the law enforcement community has been astounding. We are investing everything we have into this, and we will catch this individual.
Thank you, GMAT.
Having walked through the crime scene, through the hallways of this school, through the classrooms, I can't imagine what the people on scene felt as well. A horrific event where some of them barricaded in classrooms, some of them ran in fear. Can't overstate the tragedy and the horrific event that yesterday was, and how we will work to bring to justice the actions of one individual or any other individuals that assisted in that. Our state has gone through a lot, and we will come out successful. With that, I'll turn the time over to Special Agent Bowles. That's right.
Okay, here comes somebody else up here. Who's this? The FBI?
Good morning. My name is Robert Bowles,
Oh, it's
and I am the
not lined
special
up.
agent in charge of the
Hold on.
Salt Lake field office. Following yesterday's tragic shooting of Charlie Kirk,
The
FBI
audio's not
agents
lined
have been
up.
working around the clock
Sorry, it's just
in
not-
coordination with our law enforcement partners.
There we go.
We are and will continue to work nonstop until we find the person that has committed this heinous crime and find out why they did it. This morning, I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon
They got the
that
weapon.
was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle.
A rifle.
That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. So the FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon. Investigators have also collected footwear impression, a palm print, and forearm imprints for analysis.
Forearm imprints.
Now, I understand there are a lot of questions about motive. I assure you that all leads, tips are being fully investigated. As of this morning, we have received more than 130 tips. We
Wow.
thank the community for that.
Good job.
The FBI has brought every resource to bear, and we will continue to do so throughout the course of this investigation. The FBI's mission is to protect the American people.
Yeah, right. I mean, I hope
It's to
so.
uphold the Constitution of the United States.
I hope
Any
so.
attack on the First Amendment is an attack on the very foundation of our democracy.
That's the truth. I agree with that.
That is why we will relentlessly pursue this case and the shooter until we find him.
Him. Finally, they said him.
We also continue to grieve with the family and the community.
Because they were saying this person.
It's our community.
It's a him.
If you have any video or images from the shooting, we ask you to please submit them to our digital media tip website.
Dang.
at
Y'all start submitting if you have them.
fbi.gov/Utah Valley Shooting.
FBI.
You can also call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. We truly rely on the public's help in these types of cases, and no tip is too small or insignificant. Thank you.
Commissioner James Matthews from Sky News. Can I ask about the shooter? Just query information about him or her. You say you're confident in this thing in terms of.
I can't hear a damn word this man is saying.
You talk to us about their movements, their demeanor. Do you think it's a man? And
Do you think it's a
so can
man?
I ask, what were the security arrangements in
Do you think it's a man, and what were the security
being monitored? It's a question many people will have.
Absolutely.
measures?
So what I'll release about the suspect is suspect blended in well with a college institution.
He blended in well with
We're not
college
releasing
kids.
many details right now, and then we will soon. But right now we're not. But that individual appears, if we're unsuccessful in identifying them immediately, we will reach out for the public's help and the media's help in pushing those photos. That was a new development overnight, working through the night, studying those cameras. So that's something that's new and that we're working through right now. As far as the security, I cannot speak to that. Neither the Department of Public Safety nor the Federal Bureau of Investigation was involved in the planning or security of this event, and that'll have to be a question later for
The
other
police,
agencies.
yeah.
I'm going to ask you, you mentioned that you found the gun in a wooded area. Do you believe that the suspect could be hiding in the woods? And is that suspect possibly still in this area?
Is the
So that's a good
suspect still
question,
here?
and
Found a
it's-
gun in the
It's a question that
woods?
goes to the safety of the community, right? No, not in those woods. We walked through those woods and secured it. As to the community, I can tell you that this was a targeted event. We don't believe that the community is at risk. However, we're exhausting every resource to find him, and we will do so.
Special Agent Bowles, never speak with the BBC. From the images you have, can you see clearly the suspect's face? You say he's college age. You believe he was from this university. And how far do you think he may have gone?
College age? Is he from this
So I
university?
can't
How far did
comment,
he go?
Specifically on his face or any details such as that, as it's continuing to be part of the investigation. And again, we'll release that shortly. However.
They'll release it shortly, they
we're
said.
doing everything we can to find him, and We're not sure how far he has gone yet, but we will.
But
we
you
will do our
have a
best.
clear image of his face?
We have images of the suspect.
See,
Can
he's
you
like
please
not
define
saying
the
his
owner?
anymore. He slipped up and said his.
Do you know this person is the person that you're looking for?
Do you know who you're looking for?
Again, as part of the investigation, we're not releasing any details of that. Right?
Any evidence of DNA?
DNA.
We are exhausting all of our resources.
We're doing
to be able
DNA
to collect
testing,
those,
basically, yeah.
But that's, again, part of the investigation.
Have you been able to trace back the owner of the gun?
Excuse me?
Have you
said
found who owns the
weapon.
gun?
Have you been able to trace back the owner of that weapon or who purchased it?
We are working on that, but again,
Nah, they're not
part of
telling
the
us yet.
investigation.
Agent Paul, there's been a lot of turnover at the FBI. Do you think that's impacting the investigation at all?
Not at all. We've got complete and total support from everyone from director on down, and it's been an incredible supportive environment so far.
Are tweets like the one yesterday useful though, where we announced that there's a suspect in custody?
Was
All I
yesterday
can say is
useful
that we're
when?
working the investigation the best we have
Cash
in-
Patel
with the
tweet.
environment we're given.
Good answer, very diplomatic. That's it. The end. It's over. We're gonna go over it though. Don't worry. We'll go over it. I just like to kind of like let the things play out. I know the volume is never good, and this time it's not even my fault. A lot of times it's just like the full max volume that they have it on. Okay, so I was using my makeup box to prop up the microphone. Okay, so let's read a few things. And let's also talk about a few things which were just revealed and discussed with us at this press conference. And I was taking some notes. I'll start with those. I'll start with just my own impressions, my own notes that I just took. I mean, the press conference was what, about 5 minutes, 10 minutes? It wasn't very long. How long have I been live? Been live 17 minutes. So, I mean, it couldn't have been longer than 10, right? So there are some updates. TLDR overarching umbrella theme, the killer is still on the loose and they don't know where he is. So let me see. My notes say 11:52 a.m. yesterday, which was about 20 minutes, a little less than 20 minutes before the shooting. They were able to start tracking the shooter's movements across campus by using the closed circuit, the CCTV. I think it's closed circuit TV. So basically, the security camera footage. They were able to track the shooter's movement throughout parts of campus, entering a building, going up a stairwell, across the roof to the shooting location. And then the cameras were able to also catch this perpetrator also escaping by jumping off of the building and fleeing into a nearby neighborhood. Okay, a nearby neighborhood. Now, as we have gotten new details just now, breaking details from both the FBI and the Department of Public Safety for the state of Utah, I do anticipate and expect throughout the rest of the day for more sleuths and journalists and the people to start to kind of map out. Here's some woods. Here's where he could have ran to some nearby neighborhoods. I do expect that we're going to start seeing, just because, this is the pattern from, like, for example, when I covered the Butler, Pennsylvania incident, then the videos will start popping up. People's, there were over 3,000 people there. I would venture to wager there were at least 2,000 phones there that could take high definition video. So I imagine that what we can expect today, hopefully, is this person to be apprehended. But they did run away and they're on the loose. So they found what they believe is the weapon, which was utilized for this particular crime. Now, they could tell a lot of stuff just by, the experts just looking and analyzing, like, trajectory points, where something would have came from, this, that, the other, what kind of ammunition was used, et cetera, et cetera. I am assuming that they have started and even completed a lot of those tests at an expedited rate. I mean, this is the full force of the FBI. I'm sure they could do things faster than most of us. So it does appear also that they're running all of the forensic examinations and tests on the gun. They found it. They found this gun allegedly, it was a rifle, allegedly found it in the woods. So now, importantly, there's 2 separate locations where this person must have been after the shooting. Number 1, in a neighborhood, a nearby neighborhood, they were able to catch this guy fleeing on foot. I'm assuming he jumped off the building, they said, onto the ground and then started to run. And he was fleeing on foot into a nearby neighborhood, but they did not just find the pew pew just laying around in the nearby neighborhood. It was actually in a wooded area. And the FBI agent guy, the special agent, has said that they are using all of the forensic examination tools that they have to test the gun for, DNA, fingerprints, all of that. They also are contacting and have already begun contacting witnesses and contacting people in that nearby neighborhood to look at their door, their Ring cameras and stuff like that. They're trying to identify leads. They have a lot of good video footage of the shooter, is what they said at the conference. They have good video footage. I just can only speculate. They didn't tell us everything. It is an active investigation. The guy's on the loose. So they didn't tell us everything, but I'm assuming they have very clear and close up images of this person's face, at least enough to identify who he is. Now, interestingly, the thank you CVK for the 199 downward ballistics at 600 feet is very hard. That is a pro job 100%. And I've been thinking this pretty much all night. This is like sharpshooter. This is not like militant trans activist. Like, I know like a lot of y'all really want it to be about like militant trans activism, and I don't know who did this shooting. Could have been a trans person, could have not. That's not really material to me. However, I think this person also has some very extreme military training or law enforcement training. Like, so let's not like throw the whole thing on one thing. Okay. Yeah. So good morning, Garden State Accountability, logging in for your shift over here. Pablo, a lot of people. Anyway, okay, so let me get back to my notes real quick. I get distracted on y'all's comments. Okay, so the two main updates that I really took away from this was, well, I guess there's a few. Number 1, they do have footage of the guy. They have a person who they believe is, the suspect on camera, but they haven't caught him. He ran away off a building. He got off the building. He ran away into a nearby neighborhood. They are checking with those neighbors. They are checking with the people from that neighborhood to see, did you see anything? Did your doorbell camera see anything? Do you have any security cameras, et cetera, et cetera? And I think they are also just door knocking through that neighborhood to see if he's hiding out in there. They also found what they believe is a weapon. Now, this is interesting too. And I had just like a weird, sinister feeling last night whenever I was looking at that, like Larry David in a mask with that rifle leaned up against the car. Like, that obviously was right there in the middle of the city. That obviously was not, in the woods, and they claim that they found it in the woods. So I really do think that like there are like, you got to remember, y'all, not everything that's being done is like our own government, although check the files. A lot of times it's other people's governments. Okay. Like, you got to remember, like, we're talking about political warfare. Like, any foreign nation could just be acting upon us at any moment. Okay. I'm not even going to name names, but any of them. All right. This is the type of way that they do warfare. So also, in order to push forward an investigation, maybe to try to trick or throw off the actual shooter, they might act like we already got somebody in custody, haha, just to kind of assuage the person who's actually running. I mean, there's all kinds of psychological war games, mind games that they play. So we all have to be very careful about, yesterday, if you go back and watch my 3.5 hour long video, I did not one time show that old man with the bald head on the screen because I didn't know if that was the suspect. And now the first thing that this, press conference said today was, be careful about what you share because, some people are not actually suspects. And it's like, okay, well, first of all, don't release people's names and information if you don't know that they're a person of interest for sure, because the public has a right to speak on stuff. And I did have a right to share that image yesterday if I wanted to. I just chose not to because I don't want to be the one out here making other people's lives miserable who didn't do nothing wrong and all that. Now, something else I think was not maybe supposed to be, like, I don't want to call it leaked, but like something that I think they wanted to save for a later time to disclose to the public is the gender, or at least the pronouns of this individual, the suspect. They kind of just kept calling the suspect this individual or this person or whatever. And they weren't saying like he or her or they. But then the FBI special agent gets up there and he kind of slips and does say he or him. So it kind of gives you the idea or the impression that this is a male, which I assumed anyway. I don't know why I made that assumption, but that is my assumption. I mean, I know that, women are just as capable of shooting a gun, but I just felt for some reason like it was a male suspect. Now, it might not be, girl. I mean, we might end up getting information on who this person is. Might be a woman. So again, I don't want to jump the, no pun intended, I don't want to jump the gun on, making a bunch of, oh, it's definitely a man, because it's just aggravating when people do that. Like, I try to keep a level head over here, especially on issues like this. No, yeah, exactly. So pinch healthy. Okay, so what else? So that was another big one. Like they found some type of weapon and they're running tests on it. They do have a lot of video footage of this guy or, this person. And then they identified the person as a he or a him. What else are in my notes? Footwear. So they did get a footprint impression. That's a new breaking piece of information as of this morning. They got a footwear impression and a forearm imprint, and that's going to be analyzed. They do not know about anything, or they weren't willing to disclose anything at this time about a motive. But the leads of motive are being fully investigated. FBI has brought every resource to bear. And then they kind of shirked responsibility for security because, of course, FBI isn't a security organization. So they're like, you're gonna have to ask the cops about that, girl. We're not speaking to that. Okay. So now that I read through my notes, let's go to some of the other. Let me show y'all. Allie, can they really get anything from a forearm? Yeah, they can. So think about it this way. Allie, if me and you stood next to each other, unless you exactly my same height, we're not going to have the same length of forearm, right? Or, can you tell a lot of stuff? I don't really know, but just right off the bat, like, let's say me and Shaquille O'Neal are both suspects, okay, in a certain crime. Let's make it not that serious of a crime. Me and Shaq were hanging out, and I just chose him because he's like enormous, right? You can imagine his forearm is probably the size of my torso. So me and Shaquille O'Neal, we're both suspects, and there's a forearm impression at the scene of the crime. If it matches, if it's this big of a forearm, then it's probably not mine, right? So they can eliminate suspects, they can eliminate things, but can they say like for sure 100% this person left this forearm print? I mean, probably not. But the length, I think, and also perhaps how much of an imprint they have, how much surface area does the arm take up when it's placed down? Perhaps forensics could be analyzed for that, as well as touch DNA. So if the forearm itself had any DNA on it, or if there was a covering over the forearm that had DNA, maybe it could have been somebody else's DNA that might mess the whole thing up. But this is like, when you're investigating things, and I'm not on the FBI, I never been in the FBI and never will be in the FBI, but I can imagine, that the way I do an investigation on YouTube, a lot of the same kind of like thought processes go. It's like process of elimination and, scars, James, Slay. Okay, this is huge. If there are scars on the forearm, those would show in a print. So that's another aspect, it also can tell you about the stature or the size of the person. You can kind of reverse engineer an idea of how big the person would be. Call back to the me and Shaq example, right? Like if you find a forearm that's this big, it's probably not, somebody my height. It's just guessing though. These are like inferences. Okay. So oh, I know somebody done got no way there was any skin showing. I doubt it. But Nikki said, what sweat can go through clothes, even if the arm wasn't exposed. Yep, slay. Okay. Laura Linda, you gonna be committing crimes, girl? She said, I'm wearing long sleeves. I mostly wear long sleeves, but actually no, like mostly wear like 3/4 sleeves usually, actually. All right. So we have an update from CNN. This was another thing that was mentioned at the press conference. The suspect appeared to be around the age of college students. So the people at the press conference today, I don't remember if it was the state guy or the FBI guy, but one of them said that this person would have had no problem sort of blending in at a college environment. He would have, he would have blended in just fine. Nobody would have noticed anything untoward or weird. The suspect blended in well with the university setting and appears to be of college age. So it appears to be of college age. And blended in well with students. So I'm thinking it's like a man in their like 20s. This is what in my mind, it was a man in their 20s or 30s. That is just what I assumed. I do not know why I assumed that. I cannot tell you why I assumed that. It was a psychic vision. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong. Okay. My psychic visions are not that accurate. There was one other thing that was mentioned in my note or from my memory / in my notes that I want to bring up too, that I remember from the press conference just happened moments ago, is that the FBI guy said or one of them, I don't remember which one said it, but one of them said, we have these images from, still shots, and we're using the full force of the FBI to find out who the person is. And we're not going to release those to the public yet. And I actually think that is a good idea, because what happened when they first released stuff of like Luigi Mangione before they caught him and stuff like that is that other people who didn't have anything to do with it started being accused, started being reported, and it was just because they got bushy eyebrows or something, like without any more information about who the person is, what the person's name is, and all of that. They're not putting the information out. But what I found to be most interesting about that aspect is that he said they're using the full force of what they have available before, and they're pretty confident they're going to be able to identify who the person is. And then if we can't do that, then we will start to enlist the public. I think that's obvious that they're using an AI, like a facial recognition technology. I think they're using AI facial recognition technology to the most extreme and highest, Palantir type. I don't know, Peter Thiel developed himself or whatever, like the surveillance state. But, the surveillance state works both ways. So I really hope that we don't turn that surveillance state right back around and end up finding out that this was some type of government assisted operation. Now, I'm not saying the whole government, but, there could be bad actors anywhere you go. I digress. So I think they are trying to identify this person using facial recognition software. Now, if you ask me, I personally believe they already have an identity of the suspect, and they're just not releasing the identity, meaning the name of this person. I am concerned that they may be withholding information from the public, specifically relating to any potentially politically polarizing details. Like, for example, something very benign could be this person volunteered for the DNC National Committee or something as a volunteer, or up to is transgender. If that happens, I think it's going to be, if that ends up being the case, it's going to be very, further politically dividing. And I already told y'all yesterday, I'm not participating in the political division. So if y'all want to do that, you can do it somewhere else. Somebody got fired too, y'all, from the news. Okay. For like basically saying Charlie Kirk like deserved it or asked for it. I mean, he was like, if you do this, if you spew hate, you get shot, basically. I don't know. He got fired. Investigators believe the suspect is male. Yeah, I think this is maybe possible. I do think this is, if you're asking me, which all we can do is speculate as the public. There's a lot of stuff we don't know, and I'm sure there's a lot of stuff other people, the FBI even and stuff, don't know. Allie said trans people are not evil. They are just trying to live their most authentic lives, just like cis people. If I can live my linear life, then they should too. They are human beings. I mean, girl, I agree. All that, all the way up until somebody picks up a gun. All right. And then the equality of punishment ought to go both ways too. Okay. I don't think it should be like, oh, because they trans, they a killer. Now, girl, listen, if they got a diary written down or they got a video of them saying I'm trans and for that reason I want to kill somebody, I haven't seen a video like that personally. I have trans friends. I've had trans friends for over a decade. So this ain't nothing new to me. However, that being said, I do know that there is currently a large political division about this issue, specifically with, the most recent Minnesota, situation. This guy, like, apparently was trans, whatever. I don't really want to get into it because I think it's all kind of distracting. But specifically in this particular case, the question that was asked to Charlie Kirk, the last thing he contemplated before he got shot was a question about transgender people doing mass shootings. Now, the thing about it is, though, the question that was being asked seemed to be being asked from somebody who would have been more sympathetic or compassionate or whatever to the, like, not even compassionate, but like somebody who seemed to be more sympathetic to like the other side of things. And remember, this was a debate. He was there to debate college kids, or presumably college kids, but I'm sure some of them ended up getting along that weren't actually students at the college. But the question that was being asked at the moment that he lost his life was, or at the moment that he got shot, which ultimately led to him losing his life, what was about transgender mass shooters. And the person was like, well, how many have there been in the last 10 years? And Charlie Kirk didn't know the answer. So the question asker was like, it's been five total transgender shooters. Do you know how many there's been of all mass shootings at in the United States over the last 10 years? This is the question that was being asked when he got shot. So if it does turn out to be that it just so happens, let's say it's just a coincidence that there was somebody, the shooter was trans, I think that might cause some more political division based on what I've been seeing. Charlie's answer was about to deflect to gang violence. Yes, that was another one too. That was another aspect of it too. And I said this yesterday. I think it bears repeating. I cannot think of a single issue, one issue at all I've ever agreed with Charlie Kirk on. I don't follow him closely. I don't follow him at all. I haven't followed him. Y'all acting stupid in the comments are all about to start getting blocked. Anyway, so I've seen a lot of people acting stupid, acting crazy about this issue. And so in my comment section, we got to keep it cute. Yeah, some people completely agree with him. My point though is I don't think that people I disagree with should be shot dead in a public debate. I know that's radical. Maria, I do believe in freedom of speech and the Constitution. I mean, I don't really know what believe in freedom of speech means. Like, I strongly, staunchly defend my God-given right. I believe in it because I know that I have it. I'm sure that me and Charlie Kirk, probably me and most people have like at least 60% things in common. Like, we all cousins at the end of the day. But that being said, no, I can't think of a single issue I've ever heard him say a word about something and then me being like, oh yeah, I agree with him on that. Even stuff we agree on, it's like the way he says it is just, I can't. Like, even in his most recent video, the last video he ever made was about that North Carolina train stabbing. And he's like, even just the way with the disdain, in my opinion, the disdain in his voice for the black people, because he, again, is using, like, in my opinion, he was using this as like a political tokenization of all black people instead of just like this one particular black man. And he's, I just don't even like the way, like, he was saying stuff, I'm sure in that video I agree with, like, people shouldn't get stabbed on a train. I agree with that. But the way he said stuff, I didn't like it. I don't agree with it. He just wasn't my cup of tea at all. He got on my nerves. I found him physically unsettling to look at. I didn't even like to look at his face. And all of that can be true. And I still find it profoundly unethical, inappropriate, and just frankly unacceptable that this is how people are acting at his assassination. That's just where I stand with it. That's my opinion. And, I shouldn't be shot for it either. Okay, we have 3 new updates from CNN, so let's get into those. Four minutes ago, Charlie Kirk's family is devastated. Utah official says after communicating with his widow, the Utah Department of Public Safety commissioner communicated with Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica, on Wednesday evening and told reporters that the family's devastated. Quote, as commissioner of public safety, as a father, as a husband, I can only imagine what that family is going through. The heinous event that happened yesterday is not Utah. This is not what we are known for. We will not stand for what happened yesterday. We are exhausting every lead. We have every officer invested in this, every investigator, every local agency. We will catch this individual. I hope so. 4 minutes ago, asked if authorities know the identity of the shooter, FBI agent declines to answer. Oh, it's Bowles, B as in boy, OHLS. I thought she said VHOLS. Girl. As the FBI continues its investigation into the unaliving of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk, an official declined to say whether the agency knows the identity of the shooter. So they're not saying whether they know the identity of the shooter. And I actually appreciate that better than them lying to us. Okay. I appreciate that better. Oh, than them saying they don't know the identity. Garden State Accountability is like, no, bro, it's because they don't know. They don't know the identity of the shooter. That's what some people are saying. But then Amore is saying, no, that means they do know. I kind of assumed that meant they knew. But truly it is ambiguous because it could be either way. Look at the decline to say whether they know the identity of the shooter. Investigators have recovered the weapon believed to have been used in the shooting, and they have good video of the suspect. Authorities said at a news conference earlier this morning when pressed on whether the FBI knows the identity of the shooter, the special agent in charge of Salt Lake City Field Office of the FBI said he could not release details about the ongoing investigation. The agent was also asked whether investigators have collected fingerprints or DNA evidence linked to the incident. He said, we are exhausting all of our resources to be able to collect those, but that's, again, part of the investigation. 2 minutes ago, shooter is not hiding in the woods where the rifle was found. The person who did the incident, the suspect, he is not hiding in the wooded area where investigators found the weapon believed to have been used in the incident. He said, we walked through those woods and secured it. As to the community, I can tell you that this was a targeted event. We don't believe the community is at risk. However, we are exhausting every resource to find him. Well, I do see what the FBI agent is saying in that. He's like, I don't think that the sorry, I got distracted by y'all's comments. Girl, I cannot hold my train of thought. He said, we don't believe the community is at risk. We don't believe somebody else is going to get targeted and pew-pewed because the target was obviously Charlie Kirk. But like, sure, he's the one that died. But like, wasn't the target like the whole community? Like anyone who thinks that, like they did not sneak into Charlie Kirk's bedroom and poison him, did they? No, this was a chosen route. This was a chosen route, a very public incident, a very public scene on purpose. And it was to make a very public statement. The man didn't get pneumonia and die in his bed. And now we're all wondering, the man didn't overdose on ketamine like Matthew Perry. No. He got assassinated in front of our very eyes. I mean, I'm never going to be able to unsee what I saw. I wish I didn't watch that video. I had no idea it was going to be like that up close. And that, like, the videos, I mean, this videos of people just getting shot and killed are just online now, and they just autoplay. Like, it's really, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. It should be behind a screen, and you got to at least click it if you want. Somebody's going to. They're reporting that he was transported to a hospital and died at the hospital. Y'all, the man was dead when he got into the car. Let's be honest. He lost more blood than any human can lose in seconds. Seconds. I say 10 seconds he was dead. I really think, like, certainly within 1 minute, he was no longer among us. So yeah, maybe the coroner officially pronounced him dead at the hospital, but like, we basically watched a man get shot dead. It's like, if it was in a movie, Jules, if it was in a movie, y'all, people would say, this is so fake. This is the fakest fake shit I ever saw. Minutes. I think it was like 1 minute. They aim for that. Yeah. I mean, you have two major, like, one's a vein, one's an artery, right? One takes blood away from, I don't know which side is which, but nurses and doctors in the chat, let me know. Like, there's like huge veins right here, and they're like vitally important. And then there's like one in your like thigh or your leg or something too. But if you even so much as like nick it, you're like pretty much like death sentence. Like, your body's losing blood even faster than you can transfuse it in. So it got him. It got him. And I'm telling y'all, don't watch that video if you. I just know, like, I never like killed anything hunting, but I did grow up around hunting, and I like went a lot. I went hunting a lot, but I wasn't trying to kill nothing. I was like trying to shoot like at the Coke can on the reed and stuff. But like, I've seen an animal that got a kill shot before, a mammal, and it was like that. It was like, So it wasn't in his bed. It wasn't at his house. It wasn't at Mar-a-Lago. It was in a very public event in front of children, in front of his children, in front of his wife. So it kind of was a targeted event for many other people. I mean, the community is at risk. I'm at risk. We're at risk. Everybody in the world is actually at risk that someone took it upon themselves to do something at such a public event like this. So, I mean, I kind of disagree with this guy. I agree. Shasta said that should not have been content for us to just stumble upon on TikTok. And listen, I can't even say Britney Spears was trafficked on TikTok without losing my account for 3 days. But they can put people literally getting shot to death, shot dead, carotid. Tsunami. I didn't do it on purpose. Okay. I mean, I guess I kind of did, but like, even when I'm watching like a scary movie, I'd cover my eyes. I don't want to see stuff like that because it gets trapped in my memory. I don't like looking at stuff like that. Someone saying they heard that the kids weren't there. Wait, hold on. I gotta check a comment real quick. Hold on. So is the community at risk that this was allowed to happen at all? That nobody saw a man with, we're not talking about a little pew pew in his pocket, y'all. I mean, it was a rifle. It was a long barrel rifle or whatever. So, I mean, yeah. Okay. So do we have other updates here? This is the New York Times. Let me go to like live updates, Charlie Kirk. All right. We got some New York Times updates. Okay. So they kind of live tweeted the conference. This guy's the one that got fired, y'all. MSNBC has fired Matthew Dowd, a political analyst, for comments in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death. According to a network source, Dowd said on air, or Dode, I don't know how to say it, I think it's Dowd, said on air that Charlie Kirk had been, quote, pushing hate speech, adding that hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And this is the most sinister stuff I ever heard in my life, y'all. This man is saying on the news, and he's fired now. Good riddance. He should be fired. Because this is an incitement to violence. To my knowledge, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Please, somebody immediately correct me in this chat, this live chat live, if I am wrong. But to my knowledge, Charlie Kirk, all the things he's ever been accused of, doesn't include violence. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know a lot about the man, but has he ever been arrested for assault? Has he ever been accused even of assault? Because I kind of thought he was like a little nerd that went around debating. I mean, no offense to him or whatever. I mean, you shouldn't speak ill of the dead. But I kind of like, didn't take him for the archetype of somebody that's like inciting violence. Now, if he was standing up on the hilltop telling somebody to rush the Capitol or something, girl, to let me know. I might be wrong. But this, my whole thing I kept getting so mad about yesterday, and I broke my curse word limit for the whole month, was that people are saying, and robots online, y'all got to remember half the stuff you see online or more is not human activity. It is algorithms and language learning models it's bots. It's computer programs that you are fighting with all day instead of focusing on the things you need to focus on, instead of raising your kids, instead of going get your nails done, instead of watching Love Island, you are fighting with computer programs like half the time you're fighting with people online, at least. Okay, so you have to be aware of that. But even if the guy was saying something hateful, that is not the same thing as doing something hateful. And the slope has slipped so far in the United States, and I think globally, that everything is everything. Turning your nose at somebody is violence now, right? Like in this kind of what is anything world. So we have allowed this to happen. I have allowed this to happen. I was in this woke cult where just simply saying something racist is the same thing as a violent action. That's not the case. I was wrong. And that has led us to where we are. Having a thought isn't the same thing as performing the action. Now, should some thoughts be punished? Girl, I don't really think so. If somebody is, what's the worst type of thing imaginable? A PDF file, right? If somebody is a PDF file and they never in their whole life, one time ever, take a step, they never make a move, they never, not only do they never get caught, I'm talking about they actually somehow have the self-control, they never do anything. They never are even alone in a room with a child. Should we put that person in jail? I don't think so. So now some of you would say, yeah, if they're attracted to kids, one day they're going to commit a crime, so we have to put them in jail. But I see how that's convenient when it's a really bad thing like a PDF file. But if they've never taken an action, they haven't committed a crime. And it's a slippery slope. A lot of people out here have ideas that other people don't agree with. And I don't want to live in a world where it's Minority Report, where they got the 3 psychic triplets. They're going to say, oh, she's going to commit a crime. We got to lock her up. Because Adam Grand Mason 1622, who clearly, apparently doesn't see anything wrong with trafficking children. I got a video coming out. On that today. It's like an hour and a half long. We cannot equate people's thoughts or words with their actions. I am not going to be participating in that anymore. And I'm going to just have to excommunicate everybody that does that, because this is what we get. We get news anchors on MSNBC. This is a mainstream traditional news media platform, saying that Charlie Kirk debating his views on college campuses is the same thing as shooting someone. And basically, look, hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to you getting shot. What's to stop somebody from saying anything you're saying tomorrow is hateful? So you should get shot? Who defines hateful? Maybe Charlie Kirk did say some hateful stuff. I don't like the guy. I actually have, more I have stronger of a belief that probably he said some hateful stuff than not. I say hateful stuff. So what? I call people stupid and ugly. That's hateful. Should I get shot? No is the answer. No is the answer. And if you think yes, you are an animal that should be in a cage like such. David, go away. We're not having Hitler debates over here. People are comparing Charlie freaking Kirk to Hitler now. Somebody just said, and he's blocked now. Somebody just said, well, I don't think Hitler ever killed anybody either. All he did was give hateful words. He had the power of the entire German army, stupid. Let's not do analogies that don't make sense on my channel, okay? I'm like probably top 1% in the world on analogy deconstruction. Okay, check my LSAT scores. So, no, Charlie Kirk is not the same as Hitler. If Charlie Kirk was the head of the army and he was having the army commit genocides, yeah, then maybe he would be the same as Hitler. But he's not the head of the army. And last I checked, I mean, I could check again. He didn't do that. Pre-crime monitoring, exactly. The pre-crime. It's no, we're not doing pre-crimes. We're not doing pre-crime. Punish it. He directed the mass killing of people. Yes, this is not the same. So David, go away. Just go away. Okay, girl. I mean, y'all are absolutely savage, insane. Something's wrong with you. I just want to make it very clear. I already lost about 25 subscribers last night, and I was shocked it wasn't 250 because I'm not playing these games with you people. Speaking words isn't the same as doing actions. And if you don't see how that is, you are the one with a huge problem. Not me. Not me. He later apologized. But then they had the whole president of MSNBC or whatever come out. Okay. We find ourselves hunting a murderer, says to start the news conference. Okay. Investigators have determined that the gunman arrived near the Utah Valley University campus about 11:52 a.m., about a half hour before the attack, the Utah Public Safety Commissioner says. The police have since been able to track his movements onto campus, through the stairwells to a roof, and to the shooting location. After the incident, the gunman ran across the roof from where he had fired, jumped off the building, fled the Utah Valley University campus into the surrounding neighborhood. Now, a lot of people are saying, what about them other two guys they arrested? Were those like decoys? Were those intentional distractions? Is that why they were held as persons of interest and interfering with an investigation? I don't know. These are all questions I'd love an answer to, but it has only been a few hours. I mean, it hasn't even been 24 hours since the event. So I'm not going to be one of the ones like so far yet, like, why aren't they doing more? I mean, why? I do have a big question. Why weren't they able to track down that guy? But maybe that was an orchestrate. Maybe it was a conspiracy. Maybe there was a bunch of people working together on it. I don't know. Investigators have good video footage of this individual. Utah's public safety chief says, but officials will not release it while they're working to identify the suspect through facial recognition technology. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much what I suspected they meant. If they're unsuccessful with that, then the officials plan to share his image publicly in an effort to identify him. He has been referring to the shooter as a man throughout the news conference. Officials recovered the firearm they believe was used. He described it as a high-powered bolt-action rifle. The weapon was found in a wooded area where the shooter fled to after the shooting. Okay, so here's a picture of the aerial view. Here's the shooting location. So he ran somehow off this building. Which direction, I don't know. Where's Charlie? Charlie was here. So he probably ran in that direction, I would think. But who knows? I mean, girl, who freaking knows? It was from here to here, pew pew, and then The suspect in the shooting, quote, appears to be of college age. Appears to be of college age. We are confident in our abilities to track that individual. Investigators have been able to spot the gunman in the video footage. Investigators have other evidence that could help them identify and track down the killer. The special agent in charge of the FBI's Salt Lake City field office said in a news conference that includes a palm imprint. Well, you're done. You're done. You're done. If they have a palm imprint, a forearm imprint, and a footwear impression. We have two new updates from CNN. Scalise, Speaker Johnson. House Speaker Mike Johnson said he was in a deliberate review process to determine how to enhance security for lawmakers following the killing of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk, but he's not a lawmaker. What about for us? Why are we protecting freaking lawmakers? Why can't we protect everybody? Why is it only lawmakers getting protection? Charlie Kirk would not have been helped in any way by an enhanced lawmaker protection. So you see the lawmakers who in large part drive this political division. Yesterday, they had them screaming the F-bomb at each other across the freaking way in the hallowed halls of We the People's buildings. They're screaming F-bombs at each other. No. Get it together. Act like an adult. The whole country is looking at you. The whole world is looking at you. And y'all are having a freaking food fight on the halls of the Congress. They need to all be fired. Everybody needs to go vote in your local election. Vote for your damn self. Run. Y'all need to run. Because they don't know how to freaking act. They are the ones. These lawmakers, they are the ones. Speaker of the freaking House, Mike Johnson. Somebody send him a little clip starting at this timestamp. Mike Johnson. Y'all are over there every single freaking day, pressing the gas as far down as you can, escalating these situations, escalating and antagonizing these tensions, accepting money from foreign terrorist states, participating in genocides, conducting genocide, accepting millions of dollars, our Congress, telling us how to feel, what to say, where to go, ratcheting up division, ratcheting up hate, screaming the F word at each other across the hallowed and sacred halls of We the People's buildings. And whenever shit gets a little dicey, they want extra laws to protect them. Y'all are half the reason for this political division, if not most. No. Give the everyday average American a little more protection from tyranny, from getting shot dead for speaking. No, just the lawmakers. So they can't do insider trading no more. So now they're doing insider security. So they can just keep putting all of us, our whole country, is in very serious danger of an attack at any moment because these imbeciles don't know how to freaking act. And now they want more protection. That's all I have to say for right now. Thank you, CV Kitty, for the $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you, GLP, for the $1.99. No drones. Yeah, where's the drones? Thank you for the $1.99. Lessons learned from Butler. No, yeah, exactly. And thank you, Danielle, for the $4.99 super sticker. Thank y'all for the super chats, the super stickers, because I know that's about to get demonetized. Defund the Congress. Let's defund the Congress, and you only can do it if you do it for free now. I mean, that's where I am with it. These people create the problem and then want to insulate themselves from the problem. No, you ought to be out here in the streets with the rest of us in just as much danger as we are. Speaker of the House. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.